Hello, this is a video on how to play a rummy. Now, rummy is actually a very old game, and some of you may have already played it before. You just didn't know it was called rummy. And so it's also sold as, I guess, commercially or in a store under the name Phase 10. And so if you've played Phase 10, that is a variant of Rummy, so it's close to what we're gonna go through here, but it's not exactly the same. And so there's a bunch of different variants of Rummy. It's like Solitaire, and so there's a variant called Gin Rummy, Phase 10, like I just talked about, um, and many other variants as well, such as Liverpool Rummy, and so there's many variants, and you could look into those on your own. And so Rummy is just a game in which the basic goal is to make melds. And so you'll see what we're talking about here when we start playing. Um, but the basic goal is to make melds or groups of cards of the same rank. And so, what's the objective of Rummy? The objective of Rummy is to get rid of all of your cards. So, being the first player to get rid of all of your cards. And so, the player who gets rid of all of his cards first in the round is the winner of that round. And they get points, and you want to get points in this game. And so, the first player to a set point total is the winner. And so, you'll see what we're talking about as we go. So, you want to discard all your cards by creating melds. Melds are, you can create melds by creating sets. Sets are 3 or 4 cards of the same rank. So if you have an 8 of hearts, an 8 of spades, an 8 of diamonds, that's a meld, that's a set. Or a run. A run is another type of meld, which is 3 or more cards of the same suit in a sequence. So an ace of hearts, then a 2 of hearts, then a 3 of hearts, 4 of hearts, 5 of hearts, and so on. So that's a run. And so aces are low, and a run maxes out at I guess you would say when you get all the cards of that suit. So if you go from ace to king, I guess that's the highest run you could get. Um, and so this is basic rummy. And so you can play with 2, 3, or 4 players. If you're playing in real life, you can also play with up to 6 players. It doesn't impact the game. Here we're going to be playing with 4 players. And so keep in mind, if you're playing with 2 players, each player gets 10 cards. But if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, then each player is given 7 cards to start out. So let's just deal the cards. Each player will be given 7 cards in this case because we have 4 players. And so after the cards are dealt, the deck is put face down on the table. So the remaining 52 cards, well, they're not 52 anymore because each player was given some. So what's left over of the 52 cards you started out with is placed in a face down deck in the middle of the table. And then you flip the top card and you place it face up. So the top card from this pile, it's flipped and it's placed face up here. In this case, it was a 6 of hearts. And so we start our turn. And the player to the left of the dealer goes. So in this case, the dealer must have been Lisa. And so I'm to the left of Lisa, so I would start. And so you want to draw a card from either the deck or the discard pile. And so um, we can draw a card from the deck here or the discard pile. So we took that card, we picked it up from the discard pile. We could have also picked up a card from the deck in the middle. So you have 2 options to start your turn. And so what you can do is what you want to look for is if it's possible to lay down a meld, you lay down a meld. Reason being, a meld allows you to discard the most cards I guess, that you can. And so we have a 2 and a 3 here. That's not really going to form a run here. And so we just discarded. He formed a meld, a set, which is 3 of the same card. We don't have, you need 3 or 4 of the same card. We don't have that. And so what I think we're going to do is, let's just sort our hand first. Sort our hand again. So this isn't really doing much for us. But to form a set, we need 3 of the same card, or we need a run, which is cards of the same suit in a sequence. And so we have 2 7s, but we need an extra 7 to create a meld, so we can't create any melds here. We don't have any cards of the same suit in a sequence. We have a 3 and a 10 of spades, which are in the same sequence, but we don't have the cards between it. We would need a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a 2 and a 6, but we don't have a 3, a 4, or a 5 between it. And so we can't create a run there. You can put down as many melds as you want in each round. So notice how Bill put down the meld of aces. He could keep putting down as many melds if he can. And so you'll sort of, this is somewhat a complicated game, but you'll understand it as we go. And so, who doesn't put the, so notice how Bill has a meld there? It's complete, but you can lay off a card on a meld. And so, if I had an extra ace, even though there's only 4 aces in a deck, I could discard it by putting it with Bill's meld. Once a meld is put on the table, either a run or a set, any other player can add a card to it, and you'll see that in the gameplay here. And so the turn, if you can't put any melds, then you end your turn by putting a card in the discard pile. And so here's what you have to do. So if you drew from the discard pile, you can't discard that same card. And so let's say I pick up this 10. When I'm ending my turn, I can't discard this same 10 because I already drew it. So I'd have to discard a different card. Or I could simply just discard one of my cards right here as well. If I drew from the draw pile, I could discard that card. It doesn't matter. But if you draw from the discard pile, since it's face up, you got to see the card before you picked it up. And so if you decide to pick it up, you can't just discard it in that same turn. And so if you only have one card left to discard, you put it face down on the discard pile, and you win the round. And so I think that's enough rules for now. We'll add on some extra rules as we go, and we'll talk about some of the extra rules. But I think it's good to just see some gameplay. And so I'm just gonna draw a card from the deck. And so let's see what we can do here. It doesn't seem like we can't create a meld here, and so we have to. I'm gonna discard a. I think I'm gonna discard a 10. And so you'll just see the gameplay go as we go. And so this is a 9. That's not in use for us, so we're not gonna draw that. Let's draw something here. It's a 6. And so can't really do anything here. I'm gonna discard that 4. We want to try to get cards of either the same rank, so we can create a set, or cards of the same suit in increasing order. So a 5 of hearts or an 8 of hearts would be great, or just a bunch of 6s, a bunch of 7s would also be great. In this case, I'm actually going to draw that 8 of clubs because it is, I guess, within this sequence. And we'll discard this 3. And so this is more of a game that you get to understand once it's played. So remember, you want to be the first player to discard all your cards in order to win the game, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to discard this right here. That's a 7 of diamonds. That's a 4. And remember, if I have a 4 or a jack, I can add them onto these existing melds, right? In this case, I have an 8 and a 9. I have 7, 8, 9, so we're going to meld here. 7, 8, 9. So I meld it. We can't really do much here. We're just going to throw away the 2. And Mike melded that, so... And Bill won the round. And so you see this point system right here? You get points by adding up the value of all the other cards. Face cards are 10, so Jack, Queen, and King are just worth 10. And so you get points by adding up. So the first player to discard all their cards is the winner of the round, and then he gets all the cards from the other players. You add up their values, and that's the points that the winner obtains. And so that's how you win the round. And so the score needed to win the game varies. If you're playing with 2 players, you only need the first player to 100 points wins the game because obviously there's less cards to obtain from each player. So if you're playing with 3 players, it's 150 points, and with 4 players, the score to win is 200 points. And so if Bill reaches 200 points, he wins the entire game. And so scoring is based on cards left in the hand, and so we don't want to have a lot of cards left in our hand. If we know we can't win, we still want to keep a low amount of cards in our hand so the winner doesn't get that many points. And so now we're going to play another hand, and so I hope you sort of understand what's going on here. Each player gets dealt seven cards. Mike melds that king there. She melds a 6, 7, 8. We can't meld really off here. And so I'm actually just going to draw a card here. Doesn't seem like we can really do any melding of any sort. And so I think we're just going to have to lay off a card here. None of our diamonds can be laid off there, so we're just going to discard actually. We're going to discard this 3. Now he laid off that 9. That's how he could... So she's just laying off cards there, right? You can see that. And this is an 8 of clubs, and so we'll take it. Let's see if we can meld or lay off here. And hopefully you sort of get the gist of the game, right? You just want to get rid of all of your cards by forming melds. And you can form a meld by having either 3 or 4 of the same card rank, or 3 or more of card ranks in increasing sequences from the same suit. So like a 1, an ace, a 2, a 3, and a 4 of hearts is also a meld. And you can lay off cards by attaching them to other people's melds. And the player to discard all of their cards by doing this is the winner of the round, and he gets points by summing up the point totals from all the other players. And that's basically the entire game, just summarized in that short little phrase, or I guess description I gave there. And so we're just going to continue playing, and hopefully you sort of understand how it goes. And so what we're going to do here is, we know that we can't really lay off a card here anywhere. And so actually we can lay off a queen. We don't have a king of diamonds. Can't do that. Can't do this. And I guess we could sit here and sort of try all of our cards, but that's kind of cheating, right? In real life, you don't get to do this. You have to be able to identify them in the meld. We need one more card to create a meld here, so we can't do that. We have an ace and a 2, and so we don't have a 3 of diamonds or anything, so we can't do that. And so let's just get rid of this, I guess, 10 of spades. Quite useless. Queen of clovers. No, that's not really beneficial for us, and so we'll draw. an ace and a 2. Once again, we can't really do much here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard the 6 of hearts. That's a king of diamonds, and so we can lay that off on that meld there. We can also lay it off on that meld there. But if I lay it off on this meld here, I can lay off my ace, and so that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I don't believe I can lay off my ace. Yeah, I can't lay off my ace. That's okay, because ace is actually the lowest value, right? And so we have an ace of hearts. We can't really do much here, and so we're just gonna we have to discard actually, and so I'm gonna discard. I don't want to discard any of these, but we'll go with discarding the. We'll discard the ace of hearts. Five clovers. The 5 of hearts. And so we were just gonna have to discard that there. And so you saw what just happened there. If you run out of cards in the middle pile, you simply shuffle the discard pile, and then you take the last card that was played, place it as the start of the new discard pile, take the remaining cards, and then you shuffle them, making them the new draw pile. This is a 3 of diamonds, not really beneficial for us here. Don't want to draw. And so, oh, this is hard. This is hard. We have a meld here. We can create a row. Finish the meld there. And so what we'll do is we'll discard this 2, and in that bid that we can get a 3 of diamonds. That's a 3 of clubs, so we can't get it. And so Lisa won this round. Luckily for us, I don't believe she'll get that many points because nobody had that many cards. So you sort of saw how that played out. And so I feel like now we're just going to play the game, and you'll sort of understand how it plays out, and we'll finish this round. And so if we pick up this king here, I'll go with their queen of clubs. I'm actually just going to discard the 4 of hearts. And, oh, I put down that 4 of spades meld there. 4 of down 4 of clovers. That's a queen of clubs. We don't really have a meld we can make here. And so we have to cancel the meld, and I guess we'll lay off the oh, we do have a meld. 7, 8, 9. Queen, king. So yeah, we don't have any more melds here. And I still think we'll have to discard our 8 there, unfortunately. So jack of diamonds, not use of us, and it's not for you, so we'll discard that as well. And so there's not much commentary to do here. I feel like when you're watching me play, you'll just sort of understand how to play. Once again, you just want to get rid of all your cards. Oh, that was actually bad. We could have kept that king. So that was a bad move by me. This is a 5 of hearts. Doesn't really pertain to us, so we can meld or lay it off. And we'll discard this 7 of clubs there. This is tough. So we'll just discard it there. That becomes the new. So you just saw right there. As soon as the draw pile runs out, the last card becomes the card of the discard pile, and then the rest of the discard pile gets shuffled. And so Lisa wins this round again. And this is actually unfortunate for us. So she got a bunch of points there. But we'll just play this out so you can sort of see how this game really is played. We'll draw that Jack of Spades. And we'll discard the Two of Diamonds. A 10, a Jack. And so we don't have enough to really do anything here. So we'll discard that there. So we have 3 kings here. Nope, we cannot do anything with that. And what I want to do is I want to get a 10, an 8, and a 9. But we can't do much there. And so I guess we'll just discard this. That was actually bad because that let Mike meld, but that's okay. And so Bill wins this round. You can sort of see the gist of it here. And so this will be somewhat of a long game. This probably takes about 30 to 35 minutes per round. I mean, not per round, per full game of Rummy. And so in this case, the score is up until 200. So, because we have 4 players. And so let's pick up that 6. I'll lay off this 9. And once again, Mike got strategically lucky there. He was able to meld what we discarded. So Queen of Spades there. He's off the king there. He's off the 8 there. And so that was quite a nice sequence. Before I'm just gonna go with this 4 right there. Discard it. But there's not really much left to do here. It's quite a simple game. And 5, 6. We have a 5 and a 6. We don't have a 7 though. And so 4, 4. Guess we'll have to discard this ace here. Unfortunate. I had to discard that because I was really looking to meld there. Or lay off and add on to the meld. Let's pick up that king. Get rid of that 8. So Mike won the round, and he's gonna get a lot of points from me. So I am getting clean sweeped here by the rest of the players. I'm not that great of a player, right? I have 0 points. Well, obviously, let's just finish this game so you can sort of see how it plays out. I'm gonna draw that. I clicked the wrong card there. So that's just my wrongdoing. That's 3 right there that we can make. We can make a set there. And honestly, let's discard this 6 of spades there. 2 of spades. Seven of clubs will take. I guess we'll discard the queen of spades there. Ace of clubs doesn't really do us much, so we're gonna have to discard that. And so this round is going a bit more slower, simply because nobody's able to really make any melds. And so once again, we'll just discard that card right there. That 4 would have been nice to have. Oh no. And she won that round again. And so she's gonna get a lot of points. Right? Add up value. Remember, jacks, queens, and kings have a point value of 10 when you're adding it up. And so Lisa's close to winning. And we have 0 points, so we haven't won any round. We have to pick it up. We'll pick up that queen simply because we can actually make a meld here. And we'll lay down the 6. I'm gonna pick up that king in case I can form a row here. And I'll discard the 4. Five of clubs, we can't lay it off. We can't lay off any of these cards anywhere. So we're just gonna have to discard. Mike took that and he used it to meld. Bill melds that right there. So Lisa won the round, and so Lisa will probably win the game. Yeah. And so you sort of saw how a game of Rummy plays out. Or what's the objective of the game? The objective of the game is to get rid of all your cards, such so that you can accrue points. And the first player to 100 points if you're playing with two players, 150 points if you're playing with three players, and 200 players if you're playing with 200 points if you're playing with four players is the winner. You get rid of cards by making mends, and so melds. Sorry, and so you make a meld by either making a set, which is 3 or 4 of the same card of the same rank. So 3 or 4 of, so you have 777 or 9999, or by making a run. A run has no limit, so you can go all the way from ace to king, and by laying off cards on other people's melds that they've already placed on the table. And we didn't touch on a special way to win, or a special way to double your points. It's called going rummy. So if you can get rid of all your cards in one turn by melding or laying off, and as well as discarding. So basically, if you get rid of all your cards in one turn, um, it's called going rummy. And if you get rid of all your cards in one turn, that means you win the round. But if you do so in one turn, right? So if you just sit there accruing cards and discarding, and then all of a sudden you just bang, you meld a bunch of cards, and then you lay off the rest of your cards, or just any combination, and you get rid of all your cards in one singular turn. Before you have melded or laid off any cards. So you can't, before you have made any melds or you have laid off on anybody else's melds. So if you just sit there accruing cards by discarding and drawing, and you haven't made any melds yourself or laid off on anybody else's meld, and then you meld and lay off all your cards in one turn. So basically, getting rid of all your cards in one turn before you have made any melds or laid off is called going rummy, and it doubles the amount of points you receive from everybody else. So you'd add up all the points you get from the other players and you times it by 2. Um, and so that's basically how you do it. And so, yeah, guys, that's how you play Rummy. It's a somewhat complicated game, but hopefully you get the gist of it. And that's it. Take care.